In the Factor follow-up segment tonight, unanswered questions continue to surround the Benghazi terror attack. 4 Americans, including Ambassador Christopher Stevens, were killed in that September 11th bloodbath. Next week, the House Intelligence Committee will hold a closed-door hearing on the matter. They're expected to grill James Clapper, the Director of National Intelligence, and CIA Chief David Petraeus over the confusing explanation of the attack and why security warnings were ignored. In the meantime, 53 congressmen co-signed a letter to the president demanding answers. Among them, Pennsylvania Republican Mike Kelly from the 3rd Congressional District. He joins me now from Pittsburgh. And before we start, I just want to ask what you make of this exchange, Congressman, between State Department spokeswoman Victoria Nuland and a reporter yesterday.
So now that the election is over, the president has safely been reelected, you're going to answer all of our questions about Benghazi? Or is that too much to hope?
I think you know where we are. We have an ARB running, and the ARB, we hope, will answer all of our questions.
So the answer is no.
What specifically did you have in mind, Matt?
Well, any of the questions that you've been asked over the past several weeks that you've refused to answer.
And we have tied that to the fact that we have an ARB running. It was never tied to the election.
Oh, I think that some people thought that it was.
That was not what we said from this podium ever.
Congressman, so they're going to answer questions, but they're not going to answer questions because it's always an ongoing investigation. And meanwhile, we get dribs and drabs from media sources who've interviewed the president, and we find all this out quite late in the game, certainly after the election. What do you make of that exchange between the State Department and the press?
Consistent. They dodge, delay, distort, do everything. They deny any responsibility. This is pretty consistent with an administration that says from the beginning that'd be the most clear and transparent administration in our history, and they've been anything but. You know, but really, the message we see today from al-Zawahiri, as he talks to the Somali group al-Shabaab and says, listen, their might is gone, their awe is lost. They don't dare carry out another campaign like the ones they had in Iraq and Afghanistan. Their embassies are burned, their ambassadors are dead. They don't have the resolve to do what needs to be done. When that message is out there, I mean, my goodness, Laura, what could be more blatant, more emboldened than these folks right now? And why not? I mean, we send inconsistent messages. Africa has been on fire for quite some time. We keep hearing that, no, we've got it under control. No, they don't. And I look at those 4 Americans, and if we were really going to honor Ambassador Stevens and Mr. Woods and Mr. Smith and Mr. Doherty, wouldn't we just give the answer? I mean, is there no honor anymore in this administration?
But what I don't understand, Congressman, is, number one, why is this so difficult to lay out for the American people? Presumably they have the timeline, and there are emails. There's actual email traffic. They're not looking for the Ark of the Covenant here. I mean, they have the hard data. So why the delay? I mean, we know because there was an election this week, but do you really think that you're going to get any answers, or is this just going to be a never-ending quest for answers that never come?
Well, I think our responsibility in Congress, and Chairman Issa always starts our meetings with the same mission statement. Look, the American people have the right to know, and we have the responsibility to find out for them. Listen, for us to let one of the most shameful incidents in our country's history go by unanswered, and to let these folks who have died, these patriots, young patriots that have given their life for this country, and to somehow let the importance of an election stand in the way of the truth and honesty, this is so un-American. And this is something, I will tell you, our pledge from our committee, and my pledge to the American people is we will get to the bottom of this. I am not going to let up on it. Our committee is not going to let up on it. This is an administration that has to come forth someday. They have to come forth with the truth, and we have to keep pressuring them for it. I'd love to see the Secretary of State again somewhere in a situation where she would actually answer questions, Laura.
Well, before her election, maybe. Congressman, we appreciate it. Thank you so much. And when we